Jinger Duggar Vuolo sat down with Sadie Robertson Huff on WHOA That's Good to explore deeply resonant themes: the evolution of her view of God, the weight of guilt embedded in her upbringing, and the liberating path toward Christian freedom. Both women, having grown up under public scrutiny and strict faith expectations, quickly connected over their shared experiences, from reality TV roots to voices of influence in faith-based media. As noted by iHeart, Jinger Duggar Vuolo and Sadie actually have a lot in common, from growing up on hit reality TV shows to now being married, raising kids, and running their own podcasts. Jinger described how growing up in the Institute in Basic Life Principles (IBLP) left her convinced that stepping outside rigid rules could bring divine punishment. She confessed to having feared God would smite her if she crossed those invisible lines. Over time, those fears gave way to freedom. Through personal reflection and writing, she shed layers of guilt and discovered that God's love is about grace, not fear. In interviews and her books Becoming Free Indeed and People Pleaser, she's articulated how fear had dominated her faith formation. Sadie, known for cultivating spaces where faith intersects life honestly, guided the conversation toward how to untangle obedience from fear. Jinger shared that her husband Jeremy played a pivotal role, giving her the emotional safety to speak her mind, to disagree, and even argue, without fear of rejection. That support helped her confront the guilt instilled by her upbringing, ideas that she wasn't enough unless she performed perfectly as a wife, daughter, or Christian. The teaching was so focused on, do this otherwise you're not going to be enough for him, she reflected in a People interview. Sadie and Jinger explored how faith can be recentered, away from chains of guilt and toward freedom to live authentically. This means embracing a view of God as loving Father rather than dominator, a shift Jinger also described in detailing her journey out of those restrictive beliefs. Listeners heard how Jinger's evolution wasn't about rejecting faith, but refining it. She remains deeply Christian, but now practices faith free from fear, rooted instead in relationship. There's no guilt over imperfect parenting, no obligation to conform to outdated rules. Sadie, echoing Jinger's journey, reflected on her own battles with guilt and how grace became a healing lens. The interview emphasized that Christian freedom isn't license to disregard faith, rather, it's liberation to express it honestly, imperfectly, and joyfully. Ultimately, the dialogue became an invitation. Faith doesn't demand fear. Both women underscored that transformation happens when we shift from performance to vulnerability, from rule-following to relationship, and that's where true freedom begins.